Dirtle Magic. Thank you for tuning in to Dirtle Magic. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell if you like the content you see here today, and leave a like and share the video with someone you might think is interested. Leaving those likes really helps us out, but another way to help us out is by using our TCG Player affiliate link below. If you're looking for singles, sealed product, or gaming accessories, please consider using our link to support the channel. We also have some playmats at inkgaming.com. Go ahead and hit the link in the description to check those out. Alright, let's grab some spells and dirtle with some magic. Hello and welcome back to Dirtle Magic. Today we have the deck tech for Shadrix Silverquill. Going to take a look at some of the options we have here. Tokens, control, a little bit of politicking, but not too much. Let's go ahead and read the commander first though and see what we're in for. Shadrix Silverquill is a 3-white-black legendary elder dragon that is a 2/5 with flying and double strike, and says at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may choose two. Each mode must target a different player. Target player creates a 2/1 white and black inkling creature token with flying. Target player draws a card and loses 1 life. And target player puts a 1/1 counter on each creature they control. What's notable about all these abilities is you don't have to do any of them, but you must do 2 of them if you do, and only 1 of them is to your benefit. Of course, that's where some politics might be coming in. However, let's start off as we usually do with covering the different categories we will be covering in today's deck tech. For this deck tech, we have Token Argument, Special Interest, Smear Campaign, and Saving Face. All politically intriguing, but let's go ahead and get started. First up, we have Token Argument because, well, you gotta start somewhere, right? And why not something small and maybe insignificant to get them riled up? First up, we have Ophiomancer. At the beginning of each upkeep, if we control no snakes, we get a snake, but it's a 1/1 black creature token with Death Touch. Bit of a rattlesnake effect, also trades well with attacking creatures, and we can attack with it, maybe trading with something higher than us, or just sneaking in for a little bit of damage. Next, we have Dreadhorde Invasion. At the beginning of our upkeep only, we lose life and amass 1, so we get a zombie creature token that is a zombie army. However, it says, whenever a zombie creature we control that's a token attacks, its power is 6 or greater, it gains lifelink until end of turn, which can be very good with a few other things in the deck, especially with Shadrix Silverquill giving 1/1 counters to all of our creatures if we want them to, namely Field of the Dead and God Eternal Oketra, which we'll get to in a minute. Legion's Landing comes down super early as a 1-drop, and when it enters the battlefield, we get a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink, and whenever we attack with 3 or more creatures, we transform it, and on the backside we can pay 2 and white to make yet another token, which is fine because they all have lifelink, and the deck can eventually get pretty aggressive with all of the tokens we'll be creating. Next up, we have Keeper of the Accord, Seraph of the Scales, and Court of Grace. Keeper of the Accord keeps us caught up on creatures and lands if our opponents control more, so good there. Seraph of the Scales, when it dies, it creates 2 flying spirit creature tokens for us. Besides that, it is an evasive flyer itself with vigilance and death touch, so might get through for a little bit of extra damage if nobody wants to trade up on it. Court of Grace will give us a token no matter what. As long as we are the monarch, it gives us an angel. If we're not, it gives us a spirit. Both of them, of course, have evasion, and if we can manage to keep the monarch, that's more card draw for us. If we can't, there's some politicking to be done there. On the top end of the deck, we have Grave Titan, God Eternal Oketra, and Mere Battlesphere. Grave Titan is a 6/6 for 4 black with Death Touch, and whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, put 2 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield. God Eternal Oketra, 3 white for a legendary 3/6 zombie god with double strike. Whenever we cast a creature spell, we get a 4/4 black zombie warrior creature token with vigilance, and if she dies or would be exiled from the battlefield, you may put her into the library 3rd from the top. Again, zombie tokens, and if they get power 6 or more, thanks to our 1/1 cards from Shadrix, they get that lifelink from Dreadhorde Invasion. And last but not least, we have Mere Battlesphere, 7 for a 4/7 that comes into play and gives us 4 bodies in the form of 1/1 colorless Mere artifact creature tokens. And whenever this attacks, we can tap those Mere tokens to give this creature +X/+O till end of turn and deal X damage to target player or planeswalker it's attacking. If this happens to die and we can't recur it, we still have those Mere tokens to beef up and make a threat out of them ourselves. Next up, we have Special Interests, and this is basically where we get to play politics with our commander and a few different cards in the deck, so let's take a look at those. Sign in Blood lets any player draw 2 cards as long as they're willing to lose the 2 life, so we can target another player to draw those cards if we're feeling very generous. Blood Gift Demon, on the other hand, is Phyrexian in Arena, but it does say target player may draw a card and lose 1 life at the beginning of the upkeep. Could be good if somebody's milled out and just has like 1 more turn to go, but you really need that hand that they have a full grip of just to be gone. Rankle, Master of Pranks, also helps our enemies draw a card along with ourselves, but we can also force them to discard a card and sacrifice a creature, and since we have tokens, that's not too big of a deal for us once those get going. I will mention, however, that when it hits, if we choose all 3, they will resolve in order they are listed. Some other ways to make deals with our opponents is by saving them from a potentially lethal attack, or just something that has a great on-hit trigger. We can use Spires of Orazca to do that, or if they want to swing at us with High Priest of Penance, we can say, swing at me, I'll block with the High Priest, I'll destroy that thing over there for you. Likewise, Angel of Serenity can also remove threats from the battlefield temporarily, or help us recur our opponent's creatures back to their hand, and of course, shenanigans can ensue once we start making some deals with that. Our next category is Smear Campaign, because sometimes you just need to change the heart and minds of your opponents to maybe leave you alone, or make even some good arguments where, hey, we helped destroy all that stuff, why are you attacking me, or why are you doing something to me? So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the things we can do to maybe promote friendship. To remove just about anything, we have Angel of Despair. It's a large flyer, comes into play, can be recurred and blinked, and can destroy a permanent, any permanent, land, planeswalker, doesn't matter. Aura of Silence, enchantment and artifact spells our opponents cast cost 2 more to cast, and you can sacrifice this to destroy an enchantment, also recurable with Sun Titan. But beyond that, sometimes there's just somebody playing an Enchantress deck and nobody wants to deal with that. So Aura of Silence will be a saving grace that you can very much promote to the table, so you can make some deals and be in their good graces. We also have Heliod's Intervention to destroy a number of artifacts or enchantments, or potentially target player can gain twice X life. If you need somebody to stay around, maybe to absorb some extra effects or damage, you can save them with this card. Next, we have Blot Out the Sky, X white black, create X tapped, 2/1 white and black Inkling creature tokens with flying. If X is 6 or more, destroy all non-creature and non-land permanents. Planeswalkers, artifacts, enchantments all go bye-bye if you can get this to 6 or more. However, most of the time you'll just be using this to make a couple of extra tokens. If you can get up to the point where you can just swarm people and get rid of their support structure, especially something like an Anthem effect on their side to make their creatures smaller, could potentially win you the game. Next up, we have Saving Face. More specifically for us in our face rather than our opponents, but we can still use a number of those cards to help out our opponents and make friends. Of course, all things said and done at the end of the game, you do still have to defeat 3 opponents, so any of these will be good at turning the tide in your favor. Let's start with the Mass Destruction. Merciless Eviction lets us exile either artifacts, creatures, enchantments, or planeswalkers. Take that, super friends. Very useful, very flexible. Winds of Abandon will exile every creature we don't control, giving our opponents lands, so do be careful when you play it in case it's a ramping deck that wants a lot of lands or landfall triggers, and they have something that's not a creature that triggers off of that. However, Winds of Abandon is still very good mass removal. I would definitely recommend it, especially because you can also just pick off one creature and not overload it itself. Magister of Worth leaves everything at the mercy of the table, either recurring everything from graveyards to the battlefield or destroying everything except the Magister of Worth. And speaking of things that are worthy, Deadly Vanity. Choose a creature or planeswalker, then destroy all other creatures or planeswalkers. And what I really like about this one is it does hit those pesky planeswalkers, and you can save one thing of your own yourself to try and finish the job off as quickly as possible. So I really like this card. The other side of it is Selfless Glyph Weaver, so you have to be careful which side you want to play in the game. If you can, cast Deadly Vanity first if you need to, because Selfless Glyph Weaver will exile itself to its own ability, so just keep that in mind. Now let's save some of our creatures. Akroma's Will can not only help us save our creatures, but finish the game by, if we control our commander, we can choose both of these modes. If not, we can choose only one. Creatures we control gain Flying, Vigilance, Double Strike until end of turn. Creatures we control gain Lifelink, Indestructible, and Protection from all colors until end of turn. thereby making them all unblockable, all have double strike, all have lifelink. This card can really turn the tables, and it's an instant. Definitely recommend this just for your collection alone. Hey look, it's the other side of Deadly Vanity, Selfless Glyph Lever. 2 white for a 2/3 human cleric. Exile it though. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn, so don't count on recurring it too often. Next up, we have Ascend of the Worthy. It has 3 chapters because it is a saga, and it says, Chapter 1 and 2, choose a creature you control until your next turn. All damage that would be dealt to creatures you control is dealt to that creature instead. Could be a good target for High Priest of Penance or other things. And Chapter 3 says, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a flying counter on it. That creature is an Angel Warrior in addition to its other types. And then there's a personal favorite white card of mine in Dawn Charm. 1 white for an instant that says, choose 1, regenerate target creature is why it's in this section, but it also prevents all combat damage that would be dealt this turn as a fog effect, and can counter a target spell that targets you. So it's multifaceted, and it's a very good card in general. Next up, we have some more fog and don't attack me or you'll pay for it effects, if you will. Selfless Squire can come down at instant speed and prevents all damage that would be dealt to us this turn, and whenever damage would be dealt to us and is prevented, put that many 1/1 counters on Selfless Squire, so not only do we prevent that damage, we can crack back with a huge creature. Next we have Batwing Broom, which is a fog effect if we pay white, but if we also pay black because of the hybrid cost. Each player loses 1 life for each attacking creature he or she controls, if that black was spent to cast Batwing Broom. So this is also good in team battles, where if they attack you with a whole horde of token creatures or some such things, they will lose a lot of life. Comeuppance is something our opponents might deserve. Whenever something would deal damage to us, if it's a spell or from a source like a player, this redirects that damage to them. This also works for abilities like Aetherflux Reservoir. Or if it's a creature, this will deal damage to that creature equal to its power, usually wiping out the entire aggressive force. And then we have the new card Ink Shield. Prevent all combat damage, only combat damage though, that would be dealt to you this turn. For each 1 damage prevented this way, we get an Inkling token with flying onto the battlefield, thereby doubling our crackback damage against our opponents. And that is it for this deck tech featuring Shadrix Silverquill. What do you think of this commander? I think that it doesn't lend itself too much to politics. I think it's much low to the ground, pump your guys' aggressive strategy, but you can let me know what you think about it, like I said, and you can do that in the comments below. If you want to check out the deck list in its entirety, there's a link in the description below, so you can go ahead and check that out. And possibly tell me what I may have missed in the deck tech and other things. There are some cards I put in the deck tech that weren't actually in the deck due to timing restrictions and product being available. So there are some bear cards you can put in here. I also have a section for some upgrades you can put into the deck, but that's in the deck list on tappedout.net, so if you want to go ahead and check that out. Okay, on to another Strixhaven commander. Looking forward to a lot of cool legends in this set, some better than others, but it's nice to have that kind of variety, especially if you want to do something more or less powerful. Let me know what you think about the legends in the comments below, of course, and if you get to go out to your local game store to play a game, stay safe, help other people stay safe, and I'll see you for the next video.